I was really keen that there was a bravery here in not just tweaking something we're doing, not just saying, well, actually, I'm just going to change that a wee bit, is doing something totally different.
What has Kinross High School done that's so brave? What could it be? Well, let's see.
So we started with the idea that we wanted to work together, we wanted to come together, and not as discrete social subjects and RME, is that we wanted to work together on something big as a whole faculty. We wanted this theme of the future that felt really important and exciting to us. We knew we wanted this to be about learning for sustainability and using the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and from that we got our theme of the blueprint for the future.
So they've combined the lessons for religious and moral education, history, modern studies, geography. They've brought them all together to do a project on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Now, the headlines of these goals are fairly uncontroversial, but if you look at the detail of how they're interpreted, it's obvious that the United Nations has its own political philosophy. It is not neutral. It leans very much in a left-wing progressive direction, and that is reflected in how they interpret the Sustainable Development Goals. So maybe in a modern studies lesson, the kids could learn a little bit about the United Nations and these goals, maybe, but what you're about to hear is a lot more than that.
The final project element, which is all about craftivism and young people sort of sharing their voice, their ideas and their understanding of those UN goals within the community.
Craftivism is the act of protest or activism through more sort of gentle and creative means. The project will involve pupils identifying an SDG that they have become most interested in or concerned about. They'll work together in groups to research this, and then they'll create their own piece of activism or craftivism, so that this should pop up amongst the kind of wider community that they can showcase their work.
So the children have to choose one of the goals. Right, problem number one. The assumption is that these goals are uncontroversial, but if you look at the small print, a lot of them most definitely are controversial. Right, problem two. This is inducting children into political activism. It's not education, it's induction into political activism. Left-wing, progressive political activism. I mean, look at this. This is some of the things that pupils can choose for their project. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. And that's about human rights, women's rights, and trans rights. No discussion. Just that is the cause that you have to support, and then you can do your project on it. Right, next one. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. And again, the hints there, you should look at Extinction Rebellion, Greenpeace, and Greta Thunberg. They are three extremists, extreme alarmists when it comes to climate change. They're not representative of mainstream thoughts. They are more towards the sort of lunatic fringe, I would say. And the next one, make cities and human settlements safe, inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, particularly for refugees. Again, okay, for refugees, fine, but why do they choose that? Because it fits in with the left-wing progressive agenda. Right, what they should be doing at school in these lessons is actually learning about history, religious and moral issues, modern studies, and building a foundation of knowledge and understanding to enable them to judge these issues for themselves, maybe when they're older, but instead they're getting craftivism. Now we can see here, we've got a picture of a tank under a pink woolly jumper. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean or achieve. We're supposed to be pacifists. Does that mean Ukraine shouldn't use tanks in the war against Russia? I mean, are they saying if only we could knit enough tank cozies, Putin would withdraw from Ukraine? I really don't understand it. Let's look at this next example of craftivism. So they've got a doll representing a woman obviously strapped to a lamppost. She's wounded, tape over her eyes, over her mouth. Oh, it just shows the way women are treated, doesn't it? Well, so generally speaking, no. The sign in her hand says, you can tell the condition of a nation by looking at the state of its women. Well, okay, maybe looking at the men might be quite valuable as well. Maybe look at the children too. But anyway, so let's see what you're supposed to do for this project. Use a second-hand Barbie or any small doll, make her a placard, tie her up with gaffer tape, find a good fact, statistic or quote which will provoke people to talk about gender inequality and put that on a placard, etc., etc. So this is extreme feminist victim mongering. It amounts to saying to girls, What a nightmare you've been born into. This is the way women and girls are treated in our society, which is just absolute nonsense.
I think what really inspired me was that previously pupils had spoken to me about anxiety about the climate crisis, anxiety about the cost of living crisis, the conflicts that are going on in the world. And the displays that were in the museum really showed empowerment. And I thought that would be a good way to engage the pupils, to show that through these small acts you can be engaged in society, you can try and make a difference and become responsible citizens.
Okay, so making the craft items, how's that going to help with climate change? I don't really see it. Now, I agree, a lot of school kids, particularly younger ones, are scared witless about climate change, because that's because of the catastrophic fear-mongering that goes on in schools, especially primary schools, on this topic. Do you really believe that children approach the teacher and say, we're concerned about the cost of living crisis? I'm not really sure about that. I mean, what has the price of a packet of crisps gone up in the corner shop when they go and buy one? I don't really know. Wars, how's this going to help? But again, what should children be doing in schools? Art. Learn how art and craft, learn to make things, learn to paint, etc., and get good at it. They don't need lessons in producing propaganda.
It's about young people being involved in social justice. It's about getting them out into their community, knowing their community and becoming active members.
But no, it's not. It's not about being active in the community. It's about campaigning to try to get someone else to do something. If you want to get involved in the local community, brilliant. Just go right ahead. Go and pick up some litter. Go and visit some lonely people in the local care home. Wash cars to raise money for the local hospital. Go and clean some graffiti off a wall. But no, this is under the banner of social justice, which is a left-leaning political philosophy.
Be bold to embrace the rights that you've been given and take action when you can.
Be bold, embrace your rights and take action. I won't even try to make sense of that because I really don't think it makes any sense. But how about these messages instead for young people in school? Don't steal, don't tell lies, treat people well, help people out when you can, be considerate, don't vandalise things, don't drop litter, etc., etc. Take personal responsibility and you actually do things to make the world a better place. But instead they get this politicised vision, and when it comes to moral issues, it's all about campaigning to get the government to do something. And if your children are at school in Scotland, it's most likely they are being inducted into this way of thinking. Right, thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe, and see you next time.